Hi folks, Alex Klingelhoeffer here with Exencial Wealth Advisors. It's 7:03 here in the middle part of the country on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. Here's your morning jog around the economic headlines of the world. President Biden is going to meet with a handful of other world leaders today to talk about reducing carbon emissions. The Biden plan, which is being presented today on Earth Day, happy Earth Day to you, is going to set an emissions target of 50% of 2005 levels for the U.S. by 2030. Now that's a really aggressive target compared to Obama's target of 25 to 28% reductions of similar levels in 2025. So that's certainly a more aggressive stance. Of course, Biden's got his new infrastructure package he's trying to push through Congress. Interesting, as I've noted a couple times here before, the only clearly demonstrated scientific technology we have to drastically reduce emissions, to drastically generate significant amounts of power is nuclear energy. Biden infrastructure plan calls for about a $15 billion investment. To give you some perspective on that $15 billion investment, the carbon sequestration project that we talked about from Exxon yesterday is $100 billion. So you would have to have a massive increase in the nuclear investment really to see a robust power grid backed by reliable nuclear power. We'll see if Biden's plan gets through and if his targets are met. Again, the science right now just doesn't have a dense enough energy source. Corn reached its highest level since 2013 here today on some colder weather in the middle part of the country. I can tell you, I stepped outside yesterday morning and all of my neighbors in the middle of April had towels over their garden plants. Why? Because it was freezing here in Oklahoma City. That's an issue, right? If the corn crop goes in late, which I think it's about 8% planted right now, and if the seeds germinate a little bit slower, lower yields, less growing time, that's a supply reduction. As supply goes up, supply goes down, demand stays relatively the same. Of course, prices going up. That's inflationary. It has nothing to do with central bank policy, but it has everything to do with the prices you might pay, not only for corn, but for other animal products here in the fall. So watch out for your football barbecues coming on this fall. The hot dogs may be a little bit more expensive. India, it is reaching a surge of COVID cases. They now set the single country one-day record for new COVID cases, more than 300,000. The U.S. had the old record, wasn't a good record to have, about 314,000 back in December. India is now surpassing those numbers, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing. They're running out of oxygen in key areas there. Of course, India refuses to do any sort of lockdowns on a go-forward basis because of the economic ramifications that may happen. So again, they did lock down before, didn't really like the results economically. Now a huge wave of COVID going through the subcontinent, and they're sort of dealing with the ramifications of that. If India continues to have such a surge in the pandemic, we could see cascading effects throughout the region and throughout the world, specifically on oil consumption. India, one of the real net increasing countries when it comes to oil consumption. If they voluntarily, folks stop traveling, start to protect themselves, you can see a real reduction in world oil demand. And a last hit, just breaking before we get you off to a good morning. The ECB kept rates unchanged. Of course, they're going to keep rates low. They're going to keep pumping dollars into their economy. Europe is 3 to 4 months behind the U.S. in terms of economic growth and getting out of the pandemic. No surprise there. They'll continue to keep rates low going forward. If you want additional information throughout the day, feel free to follow me on Twitter. It's OKCCFACFP. Until then, I'm out.